What does it take to achieve a more natural accent the next time that you want to speak in American English? Or honestly, it's not even just American English. It's whatever language you're using to communicate. There are some things you can do in order to not just speak and express yourself, but to express yourself in a way that actually sounds more natural, more engaging to your listener and makes them actually want to listen to you. Good morning, guys. Good evening. Good afternoon. Welcome to your American English pronunciation review show, the Schwa Mill, where we try to help you do that. We take a look at 2 pronunciation files that you send to us and give suggestions on what can we do to help these files sound even more natural, even more expressive, even more impactful. And to guide you in this process, there is me. Hi. My name is Geoff. It rhymes with breath. That's one of the 4 keys to a natural sound in American English, including placement, pitch, breath. Trying to weaken your consonant sounds in order to strengthen your vowel sounds. I have 2 more pronunciation files for us to review. So for those of you who've sent us files, thank you very much. You can send us files as well. If you take a look at the video description, there is a free Telegram group where you'll be able to send in pronunciation files of your own. Let's take a listen to our first file for today and see what it sounds like.
Just how pathetic are you gonna be? Stop it. It's already over.
Okay, and as always, thank you guys for sending this. Let's play this again.
Just how pathetic are you gonna be? Stop it. It's already over.
Okay, so I think a couple little things here. I think the overall sound here is solid. There are some things that I think we can tweak further if you're open to that. Let me play it one more time.
Just how pathetic are you gonna be?
Okay, let's start off with just kind of talk about placement. So this is already starting a little bit high. You can hear, if you're not sure what placement is, listen to me how I'm talking right now. And now listen to how I'm talking here. Do you hear a difference between those? The big difference there is placement. It's referring to where am I projecting the sound from. If I talk like this, it's pretty high. Or if I talk like this is a higher placement. And that's kind of what I'm hearing here to start.
Just how pathetic are you gonna
Just how pathetic are you? Versus if I talk like this, like just how pathetic, just how pathetic, just how pathetic. This is placement. This first way of talking isn't necessarily wrong, although it's missing some features that American English generally is looking for. The first one being resonance, which if you hear me kind of talk like this, like that kind of like low bassy sound, that's resonance. Okay, and American English is really, really, really looking for it. And it's something that I think is kind of missing from this file. I'm not hearing a lot of resonance from here.
Just how pathetic are you gonna
Are you gonna? Where's the are you gonna? Are you gonna? Are you gonna? And a lot of times what happens when people are using a higher placement is what's happening is we're not really using our diaphragm. If you're not sure where your diaphragm is, it's kind of right there. It's below your lungs and above your stomach. It's right around where your diaphragm is. And we want to engage it. And you can tell if you engage it, if you feel a little bit of tension in your stomach. Okay. We have a playlist. If you go to youtube.com/fluentamerican at the bottom, that's just like, says, I think it's called like how to breathe in American English or something like that, or how to add breath. And it just goes through 10 or more different breathing techniques to engage your diaphragm more. So I would encourage looking at that because this feels a little bit high. Because if I always talk like this, it's going to be hard to achieve a more natural sound. People will be able to understand you, but I think it's going to lack some of that quality that people are expecting from speakers in North America.
Just how pathetic are you gonna be? Stop.
Especially that, like, are you gonna? That part is very, very high. And without resonance, what happens is your voice kind of turns shrill. And what's going on is you're using your lungs. Your lungs are doing all the work instead of allowing your diaphragm to do the work.
Just how pathetic are you gonna be? Stop it. It's already over.
Okay. The last thing I will say is that I'm not sure if this is taken from something or where we got this script from, but I don't buy the emotion. This feels like we're saying words that are pretty charged. Okay, like you're trying to get someone to stop something. You're calling someone pathetic. There's a lot of kind of like violent language in this. And so the voice isn't quite conveying that. And I think part of the reason that that's happening, that we're having this disconnect between the words that you're saying and the actual emotion of the language. I can see that there's like an attempt at the emotion, but I'm just not quite feeling it. And I think it's because potentially when you're reading this, I would ask you, what were you doing, for instance, with your face? What were you doing with your body? What were you doing with your shoulders? What were you doing with your hands? All these things are key for conveying emotion. And emotion is really important because, a lot of people when they study pronunciation, they get really focused on like individual sounds and things like that, which is fine. But the problem is it misses out on the real key with language. Like we're here to convey like emotional experience and things like that, and show how we feel about things as we express ourselves. And so we're missing some of that emotional component. And the fastest way to add the emotional component isn't to, differentiate like an eh sound versus an e sound, or like an ah sound versus an eh sound. The first thing is really asking yourself, like what's the emotion I'm trying to convey here, and how can I use my body to do that? So if I'm listening to this,
Just how pathetic are you gonna be?
like again, it's not it's not very generous language here. It's pretty aggressive. So ask yourself, what's a face that's appropriate for this? This is where finding a model, whether it's people from an interview or like acting, like from like a movie or things like that, see what they're doing with their face. This is where cartoons are really great if you ever watch cartoons, because cartoons put characters in kind of extreme situations, very emotional situations, and kind of see how did the animators draw the faces of the characters and what body position it gave them, and then try to copy it yourself. So like it might be good to like go to like youglish.com and put in the phrase like just how pathetic and see what kind of face they make. My guess is they're going to look a little bit angry and disgusted. Okay, so maybe for instance furrowing your eyebrows. So do me a favor, like if you're watching this, we're going to look at that phrase like just how pathetic are you going to be. We're going to work on that phrase and make it sound more emotional. So start off with just kind of furrowing your eyebrows. Squint your eyes a little bit. Trench your jaw. Okay, get a lot more tension here. Okay, and see if you can hold that face for like 3 seconds. Okay, and then try to say the phrase again. Okay, tense your jaw real hard. You can try biting your teeth together. And then say the phrase. Like, just how pathetic are you going to be? Do you hear the difference between like, just how pathetic are you going to be? Like, all of this to say, I think you need to tap into the full expression, not just the words. The words are the least important part of what you say. They're the least important part. People are picking up more cues from your pitch, from your body language, and things like that. The words come last. Those are the things I'd be working on there. So I hope that's helpful for that file. Thank you for sending it. We have a quick question from Tom. Good morning, Tom. Will listening and shadowing of American English for a long time get the native level? Or it varies individually? It's hard because everything's going to be context dependent. How are you shadowing? How many recordings are you doing? How slow are you going? Like, or how are you just focusing on like, a 5-word phrase and doing that 20 times, 30 times, 50 times from shadowing? Or are you like shadowing like a minute and then repeating for a minute and then shadowing for a minute and then repeating for like, a lot depends on the intensity. I think that you can do a lot with shadowing. I think it's possible to make real big gains with shadowing if done well. But I think it's very easy to not necessarily do it well. Okay. So maybe that gets to the last point where you say it varies individually. Yeah, I mean, it could vary individually based on the type of workout you put in. I know it's not necessarily a great answer, but it's the best answer I can give right now. By the way, guys, if you're finding the tips from just the Schwa Mill in general helpful, I do just want to let you know that there are opportunities to go deeper with me on your own specific nuances. Because, hey, in this case, we're looking at people who send us files, but we're not necessarily working with you. So the Magnet Lab is a program That's short for magnetic expression. It's small group coaching. The way it works is people send us videos and things like that, and we go in just like we do today. It's like nonstop reviews, but in depth, and you're with me, and we talk through it together. We meet very often. We're meeting on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, multiple times in the morning, and then also in the evening. If this is something you're interested in, you want to talk for impact. You want to talk so that way people aren't just like yeah, accent. Sure, we're gonna get you a more natural accent, but in addition to that, we're gonna help you speak in a way that other people actually want to listen to hear what you're going to say. And the best part is that it doesn't just make you a better communicator in American English. It makes you a better communicator in your first language and any other language that you speak. You're going to be able to apply these techniques across the board. So if you're trying to become a more magnetic speaker in professional settings and personal settings, I do hope that you consider joining us in the Magnet Lab. We'd love to have you. You can find more information and examples of what the class actually looks like at fluentamerican.com/magnetlab. Let's take a look at our second clip for today.
I can understand English when someone's speaking, but unfortunately, when it comes to talking or speaking myself.
Okay, thank you for sending this file as well. Let's play this one more time.
I can understand English when someone's speaking, but unfortunately, when it comes to talking or speaking myself.
Okay. Thank you for that. We're going to be diving in. A quick note here because this is going to be relevant for our discussion. Hello to Jazz Vocal. Thanks for being here. Jazz Vocal says, your voice sounds relaxed and free from strain. Yeah, I appreciate your saying that. But this is something that, again, is a feature that American English is really focused on. How do we make this happen? This is very common in North America. We're looking for a lot of resonance and warmth in the voice. This is for male speakers and female speakers. And this gets back to the first point. We have to engage our diaphragm more. You have to use your diaphragm. So many of us are reliant on our lungs. Our placement's too high. We're using our lungs for the work, and we're putting a lot of tension here instead of engaging your diaphragm and using that to carry the weight of your sounds. We have to engage the diaphragm more. And again, if you go to youtube.com/fluentamerican and you go to the bottom of the homepage, there is a playlist of videos that says how to breathe or how to add breath in American English. That's going to go through techniques to incorporate your diaphragm. Because even in this sound file right here, the first comment I have is our placement's really, really high. And there's a way you can tell immediately.
I can understand English when someone's speaking. But unfortunately, when it comes to talking or speaking myself.
Okay. So one of the ways you can tell this is think about the thinking sounds you make in your first language. In American English, the sound people make when they think is the word like, and when I do that, do you hear all that resonance and warmth and that low vibration? Okay. I'm not getting that from this audio file. She's doing more of like an do you hear the difference? It's not the same sound. And then everything projects from that point. So if I say like, hey, this is me, I'm talking like this. This is how I talk. Do you hear how the warmth stays the entire time? Okay. Versus, hey, this is me. This is how I talk. This is how, it's a whole different sound. It's a whole different sound. So we got to lower the placement a bit for our sound here in order to achieve a more natural quality.
I can understand English when someone's speaking.
It's like, I can understand English when someone's speaking. I can understand English when someone's speaking. Do you hear the difference between those? Again, high placement versus a low placement. Okay. And again, a high placement, not necessarily anything wrong with it. It's still clear, it's still understandable, but it's going to lack that natural quality if the goal is to achieve a sound that, again, is more typical in North America.
I can understand English when someone's speaking, but unfortunately, when it comes to talking or speaking myself.
Okay. The next thing I'm going to say here is that we have a lot of uptalk. Uptalk is overextended use of the rising intonation. It makes things sound like questions. To give an example, If I say, hi, my name's Geoff. I'm from the US. That's falling intonation. Hi, my name's Geoff. I'm from the US. If I use uptalk, it's going to sound like, hi, my name's Geoff. I'm from the US. I say sentences and make them sound like questions. Maybe you don't know if what I'm saying is a sentence or not. That's uptalk. Okay, it makes everything sound like a question. So watch out for that. That's my first or second major comment besides placement. In addition to
I
that,
can understand English when someone's speaking, but unfortunately, when it comes to talking or speaking.
okay, what's happening here is we're talking in chunks. It's not necessarily that we have a lot of pauses. It's more that we're almost talking word for word. And in any language, we don't really talk like that. Okay, we group words together. There are words that commonly go with other words, and that's how we make sentences. To give an example,
I can understand.
I can understand. I can understand. So there's not really any flow. One of the things that's central to American English is we're really trying to get from vowel to vowel. We're trying to extend the breath. We're trying not to let the breath get interrupted. And what I'm hearing in this dialogue here is a lot of stopping. The consonant sounds are getting in the way.
I can understand.
I can understand. So what's happening here is the N sounds are really strong. That K sound and can is really strong. But what are the main vowels here? So in the phrase, for instance, in this real quick example, I can understand, we have an I sound, I. Then we have an A sound. It's like I. Then we have an understand. So it's a schwa, then we have an then we have another an. It's like an. So all those vowels together, like I, an. Let's just run through that without stopping the breath. I understand. And then we can put the consonants back in. So like I understand. I can understand. 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 And it's gonna be uncomfortable if you are used to speaking in a way that's very firm and pronouncing your consonant sounds very clearly. This is gonna feel real weird. And you're not gonna like it, and you're gonna be like, no one's gonna be able to understand me. Okay, but this is the starting foundation for American English: is allowing your breath to flow from vowel to vowel.
I can understand.
I can understand versus I can understand. Okay. Then from there, you can incorporate, once you have the flow, then you can start incorporating things like the pitch movements, the elements of contrast, and things like that. Okay. But those are my big comments. Uptalk, trying to incorporate some more falling intonation. All right. Second thing, lowering the placement because we're a little bit high. And then third thing, taking little sequences here and trying to go from vowel to vowel instead of consonant to consonant. Those would be my big adjustments. Tom, I'll get to your comment really quick. One final thing, in addition to the Magnet Lab, for those of you who are looking for some speaking practice, I just want to remind you for next week on Mondays, and then starting in February, we have our conversation club. So if you're trying to get some speaking practice, you're like, hey, I want to practice all these things that I'm learning pronunciation-wise, but I also want to practice speaking in English. We have 2 opportunities for that to happen. Mondays, 6 to 6:30, and then Saturdays, 12 to 12:30. That one's starting in February. If that sounds like something you're interested in, you need to join the Fluent American Institute. We also have our video modules and things like that. You can do that at fluentamerican.com/institute if you would like to speak with us and our facilitators. So again, fluentamerican.com/institute for that opportunity. Tom says, so what I meant was, for instance, shouting a full video of yours, trying to match rhythm, pauses, breaths, and so on. How about that? Yeah, I mean, I think a lot depends on the intensity of the practice and the duration of the practice and the frequency of the practice and all those things. You can certainly learn a lot that way. I think you go very far that way. But again, it all depends on the intensity and all those things. Sam the Chipmunk's with us. Thanks for hanging out. Professor Geoff. I'm definitely not a professor. Definitely not a professor. Professors are people who have doctorates and things, and I do not. But thank you. Would you agree that Americans have a tendency to pull the sound back towards the throat? I would say that Americans are using the diaphragm to speak, and that's going to send the sound down. So we want to project less from this area of our body. We want to project more from the lower throat, chest area. Okay. We want to make sure we're engaging the diaphragm, and that's going to pull the sound down. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. For those of you already in the Magna Lab and things, I will see you later today. If not, we'll be back on Monday with another edition. Thank you guys for sending files. It's hard to do a review show if there's nothing to review. And also, thanks for hanging out with me, because there's a lot of pronunciation resources out there. I'm very much aware of that. So the fact you are here is appreciated. I'll see you guys later. Hope you have a good day. Have a good night.